I want to hear your thoughts on the writings of Karl Marx.
Not a fan.
Wait, no way. Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk. The guy that was on Turning Point USA, the conservative, talking head, isn't a fan of Karl Marx's work? No way. I don't believe it. I can't. We can hit Charlie. Charlie Kirk is fascinating because he is the most boring conservative man to ever exist. Like, genuinely does not do anything interesting. I mean, essentially, he's just doing Steven Crowder's shtick that he did like 10 years ago, just less interesting, maybe a little bit more intellectual. Now, the man they're discussing in the video in his writings, Herr Marx, Karl Marx himself, is way more fascinating as an individual. But in the video, if you watch it, it's even more fascinating what Charlie actually says. Listen, it goes without saying, without a shadow of a doubt, that Karl Marx is probably the most overread but also misunderstood economists, historians, philosophers of all time. Like, genuinely, people will make up things he said or believed and then argue the straw man against him, which is what Charlie does in this video. See, Charlie's whole point in this video is that he's essentially arguing that Marx argued that in order for a communist society to exist, we had to get rid of the family, we had to get rid of religion, and we had to get rid of private property. He said none of these things. If you go and read the Communist Manifesto, or Das Kapital, or Capital, Volume 1 and 2 and 3, though 3 is unfinished, Marx died while he was still finishing it, and Engels had to finish it for him, his friend. But what Marx's central argument for all of these things was that the reason for religion, these so-called opiate of the masses, was that not that religion served no function or had no moral weight in society or that the family was bad. What Marx was arguing is that religion filled a dissatisfaction in humans caused by separation, i.e. the separation of humans from our creation, our works. You have to understand, Marx was writing this in the middle of the 19th century. This is high industrialization in Germany, in France, in Britain, and the United States. This is the Gilded Age. This is the era of the robber barons. This is the era of children working in mines. This is the era of massive wealth disparity between all the classes across Europe. Not unlike today. We'll come back to that. Don't get me wrong. I do not believe for one second that Charlie Kirk actually read Karl Marx, more or less engaged with his works critically, because Marx is not an easy read. I'm not saying this to be an intellectual condescending, but it's just not. It's a lot of numbers and analysis and breaking down complex arguments. It's important to read, and people should read it, but it's definitely not an easy Sunday afternoon read. It is a work that requires a lot of engagement with it, and honestly, most people just read the summaries, which is fine. You can read the summaries and still get most of the points, but if you want to engage with the work critically, you definitely should at least read like a chapter or two here and there. But anyways, this is the reason this video is so interesting to me. Charlie's video, that is. Not this video I'm making, though it is interesting to me. And Charlie, if you see this, hey Charlie, you work on your argumentation. You're still just, I don't know, a more pudgy looking Steven Crowder. What's interesting is that Charlie actually brings up, real things. This is kind of his shtick. He brings up the rise of anxiety, the rise in depression, the rise of increasing thoughts of self-harm among men, among women, among children. And Charlie's whole point about why these things are on the rise, these anxieties, depressions, mental health, people's dissatisfaction with the world, he argues that it's down to a degeneration of the moral fiber of America, our moral institutions, the church, the family, private property, these sacred things that he holds up. And that's just traditional conservatism. Nothing really new there. But it's interesting because he acknowledges that it is a problem. Because you know who else thought it was a problem? Karl Marx saw this was a problem. And this is the thing about Charlie and so many conservative talking heads out there, is that they kind of understand a little bit the problems of the world to a degree, but their identification of the cause, they can identify the problem, they can't diagnose the cause. Or rather, if they did diagnose the cause, they would see that maybe Marx had a bit of a point that the rise of hypercapitalism, the separation of us from the world around us, that there is creative dissatisfaction, there's career dissatisfaction, that no matter what you do, the fact of you owning your work, a home, a family is getting difficult and difficult and difficult. That this system we live under, capitalism, creates enough food to feed the world and we throw it out. The only thing that's keeping capitalism going is the waste. We could feed everyone. We could house everyone in America. We have more vacant homes than homeless people. Again, we could take the means of production and we could try and redistribute this. We could try and work it. We could try and fix these problems. Will it work? I don't know. I'm not a communist. And the thing is, it doesn't matter to Charlie if we fix these problems or not. Because if we did, if we got rid of all of this, if capitalism was gone tomorrow, we got rid of the profit incentive, we could feed everyone, we could house everyone, then Charlie's not special. Then all the CEOs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Tim Apple, some others, I don't know, there's nothing special about them. Their wealth doesn't matter. And if the wealth doesn't matter, then who are they as people? What do they offer society? What vision of humanity do they bring? And I don't know if you've seen Elon Musk recently. It's not really that interesting. And ultimately that's the thing. And this is what, again, bring it back to Marx. When you get rid of capitalism and you have all these people like Charlie Kirk, these talking heads, TPU CEOs, people that go and defend capitalism with their lives, if you remove everything, the wealth, the status, the argumentation, the straw manness, the moral justifications for atrocities, what do they actually have? What do they bring? And it's nothing. Nothing. They're empty. Their entire shtick is just capital. The soul, it's just not there. What are they going to offer in a world where they aren't the ones in charge and can be the special boys they've always wanted to be and to feel like?